G'day guys, here's me trying to make you a professional video. Good luck. I'm now very short on time because I had a phone call from a friend. Incidentally, I've pulled up here. It was just a coincidence. But how hot's this little thing? I'm actually not familiar. Was there an STi back then? Is that an STi? I'm not sure. Anyway, that's got a white cluster in it. I'm not sure. That's the very first one. I don't think the US got that car. Anyway, the developments here are this. The developments are as such. This car absolutely flies when you push it. So it just wants to be hammered for a few minutes. And yesterday, in 35-degree heat, this car was performing so well that I just do not understand how it does it. That intercooler must have some type of benefits of being mounted there, because I mean, the car, yes, I had a little bit of detonation here and there, I'll admit, it was 35 degrees, but pushed hard, it absolutely developed power right through the rev range that my other car never seemed to be able to do before the tune. And that's that. I went into yesterday in a short video that these tyres are too sticky, so I'm actually deliberately destroying them by just taking some corners really badly at low speed and chewing the tyres up. And, you know, it's quite disappointing with the rack rattle. My other one had a bit of rack rattle, but this one, now with the front tyres at 37, 38 PSI, there's rack rattle. It's not all the time, but it's there, and it doesn't take much to set it off. So, you know, there's nothing more I hate than suspension noises, and I mentioned years ago that's one of the reasons I like Subarus. The suspension just seems to be noise-free, which is quite unusual. You know, even Mercedes-Benzes seem to get all the strut tail knocks not after a long time and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's the rack rattle going on here. But, you know, I made a video titled, Digital Video Game. I mean, you know, guys, driving it in that pouring rain the other night, I mean, I had half the car on grass and mud and the other half on the road, flooring it through second gear to third, and it goes dead straight. So here what we have is an improvement in the track of the car. This car stays straight in the wet, in the dry, whatever, whenever it is, it's got less jitteriness, which I've also mentioned, but I'm only now beginning to appreciate the way this car sits on the road. As I said, it feels 400 kilograms heavier, etc., but it's just a more solid car. And these are the things that are important to me. They're not important to everyone, but the trade-off is all this stuff with the VDC. So now, even in the rain, in track mode, quite disappointing. The third part is, as I said, I'm being off work shortly. These are the last few days. It is historical. I will be back in the workshop to close it. But for now, unless the developer gets struck by a engine that falls off a plane or something, my dad sold the workshop and the workshop is going. Therefore, I'm going to now, from next week, be hanging out with my tuner. And I said that I spoke to my tuner. What I didn't mention is that that he's now doing engine rebuilds. He's got a bit of a better place that he's at to do it all. But he did say to me, as I mentioned, the white ones all seem to rip. They all vary. He goes, each and every one of these cars, he goes, some of them are they're just so much lower on power, lower out of the box than you would expect. So I don't know why this happens. It's a mass-produced car. Subaru have robots making the cars as well, the engines and stuff. I've watched the videos, but why do these cars have such a variance? I have no idea. Now for Mark Antonello, how you going? I hope your car's going great. Don't forget, if you're going to do anything before the tune, like put the InGen or whatever on, just keep that bottle of octane booster and know that the fuel quality varies quite dramatically. So yeah, you know, like the cars are not consistent. I don't believe they are consistent until you get to the WRX. I believe that direct injection and a variable geometry, twin scroll turbo will give it what it needs. Now, another thing I haven't mentioned, and I'm not going to say it's inside information, it's not. What if Subaru go with an electric turbocharger? They've been playing around with that technology. Please, can they do that with the FA20 and put us out of our misery, right? And that will bring the engine capacity down. As much as I say, 2.5 litre, no, it won't be a 2.5 litre because it's not the way of the future. The future is it's a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder. That's the way of the future, hybrid. So not that I want that, but now Subaru have made an announcement a few days ago. There will be no drivetrain changes to 2021. And this is despite Subaru Australia telling me there's a new STi coming out in 2019 sequentially with the WRX with no delay on the new platform. So I do believe as well that they're going to move to the new platform with this car. But, you know, it just comes down to a matter of this. If this car was on the track all day, it's fantastic, okay? And I say it needs more power, and then I just am shocked by the power output of this car. I mean, this car is a very fast, powerful car. It's just a matter of bogging down and weighing down and stuff like that, that, you know, cities picking up, everyone's going to work, it's getting really noisy. But the way the car just has this weight problem has to be one of the more difficult things to resolve. Because, see, having more power is not going to get this car through the corners with more agility. So I'm not proficient with wheel alignments and that yet. In the next workshop I hope to be. But I mean, what happens when you put smaller tyres on it? What happens when you get 18-inch tyres on this car? Will the car become more nimble? Okay, as I said, it's not chuckable. The car's not chuckable. But I'm still, you know, it's a sort of car where the novelty never wears off. Okay, it never wears off. So when you get it and you're amazed by the sharp steering, I'm still amazed by the sharp steering. You know, you can go around anything you want. Now, I did a little test yesterday at higher speeds on the freeway. There was no one around, and I did my violent body roll test. The car certainly has body roll, which is beginning to become more apparent, especially as I mentioned and endlessly mentioned on the rear of the car. But I'm now talking at about 100 kilometers an hour to do a violent swerving maneuver and then back again. Okay, you wouldn't want to be in many other cars. I'm sure Audi does it well with the RS3, but this is a very, very stable car. So all Subarus are, even the Foresters. Oh, there's another one there, from violent maneuvers. Okay, now when you have a violent maneuver here on cruise control, the cruise control on the earlier model, I think, shut off a little bit easier than this one. Okay, so yesterday to shut my cruise control off, I really had to get really violent with the car. 7:15, I've got to go to work. So yeah, yesterday, for those that don't know, when you hit the brakes at high speed, hard, you've got the hazard lights come on, and then when you violently tip the car at speed with the cruise on, the cruise will disengage. Also, I've mentioned the cruise control's now active from 30 kilometers an hour, not 40 or 41. And the final thing was, what was it? Oh, the brake feel. The brake feel. So yesterday, I gave it a big stop, but you know, when as if there were passengers in the car. So you want to stop the car, you don't want to put people through the window. And it just, as I've said, lacks the brake feel. So look, for those of you that say, you know, 1 minute it's this, 1 minute it's that, this is the life of having an STi. I'm sure it's the same of this, that it's the same thing where, you know, one day look, people call it love-hate. Yes, there are days I don't hate it, but there are days I'm like, look, I can't drive this car today. I really don't want to be in this car anymore. You know, so the car, you know, needs more consistency. An electric turbo and all that would definitely make that happen in the future. There are great things to come, without a doubt. But this car is an amazing, amazing vehicle. It's just such a shame that I had to literally pray for it to rain to get my passion back on the car. Now, back to the brake modulation. There's so much background noise here, I can't even think. But back to the brake modulation on the car. What brake modulation is, you know, when you massage the brake pedal with the ball of your foot. So you hit the brake pedal and you want to give it a squeeze. The previous model has a superior brake feel. It is so much more controllable. But then in saying that, though these brakes are bigger, they never seem to lurch or grab excessively. So it's like you get much more braking here and deceleration with less body movement, or with just, you don't feel it. I don't know how they've done it. Obviously it's just the best brakes I've ever had in my life. But yesterday I didn't have much confidence in these brakes at one stop, and as I said, the car will pull up, but really the brake feel is just woody in the middle. So I might have to hunt around. Maybe Subaru have released some tiny little videos for 3 minutes from Japan with the captions down the bottom talking about what they've done with this car and why. But yeah, love the steering. I am now with 37 in the tyres, getting this barely noticeable. You wouldn't know it unless you own the car. When I turn, I'm getting just that little bit that I got when I got it. So it's definitely got to do with the tyre combination of the car, but it's certainly not going gah, gah, gah like it was, but definitely there's something there. Very sensitive to tyre pressures. Shocking, absolutely shocking that they took the TPMS out. I think this might be my time to go with this street sweeper on the way now. This is Sydney Harbour Bridge. This is Pier 1. My dad used to take me fishing here when I was young, and people are fishing there right now, and you just pull up the best fish. But that's where all the cruise ships come in. This is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Hey, Ashton, Corby, Kylie and Mason. It was the people that stole the bread, I think, that settled here. And there you go. This is all built by the English settlers. Sydney sprawled. So we're in the rocks now, and it just sprawled, and I love it. I mean, I love this. I love it. You know, when I think of English, I think of masonry and cement and bricks and stonemasons, and not wrong. It is absolutely beautiful, beautifully made. Okay, and look at the buildings today. Look at that. And then look at the buildings today. They build them. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this. What's that? You know what I mean? So anyway, guys, hello from Sydney. Hello, Budgie. How's your RS3 going? Can you tell me more? One of my subscribers has moved to an RS3. He said, of course, I'd always buy an STi. And he even went to say, yeah, the 3.7 second launches are awesome, awesome, awesome. But it's synthetic, okay? And that's where the contradiction comes here, okay? And for the bloke that I'm going to hang out with and take you for a drive and give you my car, hello, with the construction hat on, how are you, mate? I wanted to say to you, when I meet you, and we will, I'll take you for a drive. I'll teach you about this car, and it's a real car. You know, back in the old days, your car sometimes took longer to start. It would have a little burble. It'll have a little, misfire. Now, these cars don't misfire, but certainly the idle speed, sometimes sort of the computer doesn't know what to do, and it'll bring it up. So I want you to see the car maybe before I have it tuned to see what it is out of the box. I know I've got an InGen filter on it, and it helps a little bit, but then again, everyone's saying that the InGen filter leans it out, that the cars have dangerously lean mixtures. I don't think the car has dangerously lean mixtures here, because otherwise I would hear dangerously bad detonation. Now, cars have knock sensors, so when it picks up on a knock, which is an uncontrolled explosion, right, the computer brings back the timing. Now, regarding fuel and knocking, for those that don't know, the higher octane is more controlled combustion. So literally the lower octane is the firecracker. You know, that's the fuel that's going to give you bang. But the higher octane fuel actually burns at a more a different rate, giving you a different flame propagation. So it really is all about the fuel here. You know, when all of us are making these videos, or me especially, you know, and going, oh, this and that, and it's good in the hot and it's good in the cold, and then I'm putting an octane booster in there and then I'm not, and then as the fuel changes with the level of the tank, you know, the car's getting the blame. But really in Japan, I wonder what their fuel quality is. I don't know. But, you know, it's all of this, oh, last night, okay. So I got home last night, okay? And I went into the car park, and do you know what this car did? Because I'd been driving it so hard, it's never been driven that hard. It went in the car park, right? So as I'm driving in my car park, the car's going jerking, and just my luck, there was 2 Audi owners standing there, you know, next to their Audis, and looking at me. And they could even hear the gear train going clunk, 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 and they were appalled. They would have looked at this car and said, what piece of shit junk is this heap of garbage, you know? And it was embarrassing. I'm an ambassador for Subaru, I hope. Okay, there's a lot of you that have bought the cars. They're fantastic cars. And just remember, I mean, they've done a great job with this front styling. I really am beginning to I love it. But just remember, they don't look great when they're new, but check out that Forester over there. Have a look at that. Okay, now, what's so bad about that? It looks like some half Chevrolet thing, but at the end of the day, you know, look at it's got a poise to it. The cars have a, they you know, they have a they sit with a presence, and the styling. I mean, this says it all, doesn't it? Say it all. Look at that. But that's a nice looking car, and that's a classic. You know, it really, really is. I actually chose this location thinking it would be really nice and quiet. I knew there's a rail line up there, but it's not bad to have the sound of a train go by. But I forgot that every street sweeper in Sydney gets dispatched from up here, maybe? I don't know. But, you know, regarding the styling, it's not really what it's about. And we've always said that, and the Subaru STi owners don't care about the interior. Yes, we do care about the interior, but, you know, the styling, you know, there's a lot of function going on here and purpose. So, as you can see, styling is not the issue for us. The issue for us is the weight. The weight of the car and the spool up of the turbo, and these things are now going to be fixed. So now I'm going to be hanging out with the tuner, and this is going to be awesome. I don't know if he can read the program ad lib and know the differences in fuel delivery, but straight away I'm going to say, guys, I'm full of shit, or guys, I'm not. I feel that this car consistently puts more power out. I feel that the steering is, even though it's deader, it's sharper. It's so much fun to drive this car like this. Okay, now my final comment is from the tuner. Okay, he goes, Rami, have you driven a Type R Civic? And I went, no. I went Type R. Now, I actually mentioned one of my favourite people, I think Eric V. He wrote Type R's, this and that, and he made some horrible homophobic comments. But here's my new infotainment system. Get it? Look at this, guys. This is the hell of having this car, right? There's no Pandora, right? Now, I'm not going to start. Don't get me started. I've got a post-stress traumatic disorder to Pandora. So now I've got this. And of course, it's not perfect. You know, it's not. It's all downloads and whatever, but it's here. So this is called Car Launcher AG. I'll go into this another time. All auto. All auto. I just wish I could take that off. So my final comment, he said, Rami, the power delivery, the Civic, he goes, if you drove a Honda Civic Type R, you'd swap it for your car. Now, me and him are very similar, as in we're old school. I said, Honda, they're back. Yes, my favourite. car maker, Subaru and Honda. I love Hondas. Don't ask me for what reason. It's quality and for whatever else. But Hondas drive absolutely beautifully. Honda are back. I've said it. I believe they're back from the dead. They were the BMW of Europe. Oh my God, I'm going to be late to work. And Honda are back. And let me tell you something, guys. Okay, you know, I'm the worst offender. I've never driven a Focus. I don't like this and I don't drive that because their core cars are shit. Okay, when I get Focuses in, I just, they make me sick, right? I know exactly. Plus, all the cars I fixed over the years, and I've thought, oh, I'm going to drive this car. They just were disappointment after disappointment, including Porsche Carreras, until you get them on the freeway. But yet, I would get in the WRX, and I couldn't come back to work. My dad would ring me. It was like Ferris Bueller. So yeah, I did the Ferris Bueller. I took a Porsche Carrera, okay, of this owner that was an absolute prick. I mean, he'd never see this, you with your yellow Porsche. Yeah, but I tore the shit out of that thing. I took it to the airport, and the only time that, I mean, it went well was when I tore the shit out of it.